So why haven't we built a moon base or sent a crew to Mars? You hear all the usual suspects, right? It's the radiation, the distance, the money. But the real reason, it's something way more fundamental. It's something every single space agency knows, but they rarely talk about it out loud. Let's get into it.
And this quote just gets right to the heart of it. That dream we all have of permanent human settlements out there among the stars, it's an amazing idea, but it's built on a kind of lie. Not a malicious one, but a liable mission. It's never been about whether we can go. The real question is, can we stay?
So what is this fatal flaw? What's the big secret? Well, it's not some missing piece of tech we're just waiting for someone to invent. No, it's a massive, systemic industrial problem that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time.
The real barrier, the one that stops everything, is something called launch cadence. Sounds simple, right? But it has absolutely brutal consequences. It's just the rate at which we have to launch rockets, nonstop from Earth, to keep anything going beyond our own backyard. And believe me, when you actually run the numbers, a pretty terrifying truth starts to emerge.
Okay, so to really get why launch cadence is the bottleneck, we have to start at the beginning. We're talking about the fundamental physics that governs every single trip to space. And this is where we need the first, totally unforgiving law of the universe.
Yeah, the math on this is just cruel. To make your rocket go just a little bit faster, you need more fuel. Okay, makes sense. But that fuel has weight. So now you need even more fuel just to lift the fuel you just added. It is an exponential trap and there's just no way out of it.
Look at the Saturn V. I mean, this is the most powerful machine humanity has ever built, period. At launch, it weighed almost 3 million kilograms. But of that, a mind-boggling 2.8 million kilograms was just fuel. And the part that actually came all the way back with the astronauts in it, a tiny 5,500 kilograms.
It boils down to this absolutely staggering ratio, 500 to 1. For every single kilogram that made it back home from the moon, we had to launch over 500 kilograms of rocket and fuel from Earth. That right there is the brutal economics of space travel.
All right, so now let's look at our only permanent outpost in space, the International Space Station. This is where things get really real, because the ISS gives us 2 decades of hard data on what it actually takes to keep people alive off-planet.
Now, just think about this for a second. To keep just 6 people alive and working up there, we need about 1 rocket launch every single month. And this isn't for cool new experiments or building new modules. This is just the baseline resupply. Food, water, oxygen, spare parts. It's a constant, unbroken supply chain.
And here is where the scale just completely breaks your brain. The ISS, it's right there, practically in our cosmic backyard. The moon, though, is nearly 1,000 times farther away. And you remember that nasty rocket equation, right? That 1,000-fold increase in distance doesn't just mean things get 1,000 times harder. No, it means the supply chain problem gets exponentially worse.
So, this constant, desperate need for rockets brings us to the next layer of the problem. We're moving past the physics now and down to the gritty, physical, industrial reality of actually building these incredible machines here on Earth.
You know, a modern rocket isn't built in one giant factory. It's more like conducting an orchestra, a global supply chain orchestra. A single Falcon 9 rocket has something like 400,000 individual parts, and every single one of those is a potential point of failure, a potential delay. That complexity is a fundamental limit on how fast we can possibly build them.
And even with the huge growth we've seen from companies like SpaceX, just look at our global capacity for the single most critical component, the rocket engine. It's still so limited. The whole planet can only make a few hundred of these complex machines per year. Total, that's it.
And this is a kind of problem you can't just throw money at and make it go away. It takes the better part of a decade to train the highly specialized people needed to build and check these systems. This human pipeline, it is the slowest scaling part of the whole enterprise. But let's just pretend for a second. Let's say we solve the physics, we solve the industrial problems. We still face another relentless, undefeated enemy, entropy, the universe itself. The space environment is actively trying to destroy everything we send up there from the second it arrives.
And I know what you're thinking. This is the question I always get. But wait, what about reusable rockets? That's the game changer, right? That's the magic bullet that makes it all work. Well, it's not quite that simple.
See, reusability doesn't eliminate the industrial work, it just transforms it. A returning booster has basically survived a controlled plane crash.
It needs weeks, sometimes months, of intense inspection and part replacement and refurbishment. That takes time, it takes facilities, and it takes that same highly skilled workforce. It's just a different kind of bottleneck.
And meanwhile, every single piece of hardware you have in space is under constant assault. You've got orbital debris hitting things like tiny bullets. You have solar radiation just frying electronics. You have these brutal temperature swings weakening materials 16 times a day. And that's not even mentioning what it does to the human body. Everything up there needs constant maintenance and replacement.
Okay, let's put all of this together. Let's do the math for what seems like a simple goal, a minimal 6-person base on Mars. Let's see why that beautiful dream collides head-on with the cold, hard reality of launch cadence.
So, based on decades of NASA planning, just to keep 6 people alive and their equipment from breaking down, you need to land about 50,000 kilograms of supplies and spare parts on the surface of Mars every single year. For perspective, that's like landing about 25 big SUVs on Mars annually. Now, just watch how these numbers get crazy. That 50,000 kilos on Mars? Well, thanks to the rocket equation, that means you have to launch 7 times that much from Earth. Then you have to add in all the support launches for things like orbital assembly. Suddenly, you need 50 to 100 heavy-lift rocket launches, all crammed into a narrow window that only opens up every 2 years.
And here it is. Here's the bottom line. A tiny 6-person research station on Mars would eat up over a third of our planet's entire launch capacity. That's capacity that's already booked for decades with satellites, national security missions, and science. The numbers, as they stand right now, they just plain don't work.
Look, this isn't about being pessimistic, it's about respecting reality. The universe has rules. The physics of propulsion, the limits of our factories, the relentless process of decay, these are rules that don't bend, no matter how much we want them to.
So I'll leave you with this question. Does facing these hard limits mean the dream is over? Or does it free us from these impossible goals and challenge us to focus our incredible ingenuity on what we can actually achieve within the rules of the universe? What comes next? Well, that's up to us.